Introduction. The RAM Gene 1 meter is designed to detect alpha, beta and gamma surface contamination in units of CPS or CPM, or radiation in units of microsieverts per hour or millirengen per hour. It is a microprocessor-based instrument, equipped with a recessed GM pancake covered with a thin mica window and a protective stainless steel wire mesh screen. The meter is a one-hand operated instrument, with only 3 push buttons used for operation: on-off, light and speaker. 3 indicators to provide feedback: a large 4/7 segment LCD, an audible click whose rate varies directly with count rate, and a LED indicator that flashes with each incident radiation pulse. Switching between the measuring units is automatically performed according to the energy cap location. Contamination is measured when the cap is removed, and radiation is measured with the cap on.
The short press. This section shows what happens when you click on any of the keys with a short press. Power up the meter. Activate the backlight. Mute the instrument.
Displaying the accumulated dose. The RAM Gene 1 automatically begins to accumulate the counts immediately upon powering up, so you can see the accumulated dose at the end of your day or survey before powering down the instrument. Simply press on the speaker button with a long press and the accumulated dose will appear, flashing for 10 seconds, before reverting to the dose rate mode. This feature only works in the dose rate mode. That means cap on. The accumulated dose is reset to 0 when powering up the meter. Cap on, cap off. The cap of the RAM Gene 1 contains within its plastic cover an energy filter made up of different metal discs. This energy filter gives the GM pancake detector the ability to be compliant to the IEC 60846 and IEC 60325 standards for ambient dose equivalent and contamination monitoring. With the cap on, the meter is measuring dose rates through the energy filter in units of microsieverts per hour or millirengen per hour. With the cap off, the meter is measuring contamination in units of counts per second or counts per minute. Here is a small micro switch which is responsible for detecting, or not, the presence of the cap on the detector. Setting the thresholds. The threshold level is used to enable the RAM Gene 1 to alarm if the dose rate or contamination level being measured exceeds the set threshold level. The threshold value can be selected from a range of 11 threshold values for each measuring unit. The selected value is also kept in memory after the meter is turned off. You can set thresholds for both the dose rate and contamination modes. To access the dose rate mode, cap on. To access the contamination mode, cap off. To choose the required threshold value, press the light button for 2 seconds. The display will show THR. Press the speaker button to display the existing threshold value. Each additional press on the speaker push button displays the next threshold value. To save the new threshold value and exit the threshold mode, press the light button for 2 seconds. Saving will be verified by the threshold value blinking, and then reverting to the measuring mode. To exit the set threshold mode without saving new values, press the light push button for a very short period, less than 2 seconds. The previously saved threshold level will be displayed before reverting to the measuring mode.
Calibrating the RAM Gene 1. Calibration should be performed by an authorized technician. To calibrate the RAM Gene 1 meter, use the U9 dip switch on the CPU board. For calibrating the contamination measurement, cap off, expose the detector to a beta source of technetium-99, whose activity is between 50 to 250 kDpm. For calibrating radiation measurement, cap on, expose the detector to a gamma source of cesium-137, whose activity is 180 millicurie. Compare the result to the expected reading. For example, 100 kDpm of technetium-99 should give 10,000 CPM. If the difference is higher or lower by 10% or less, the detector is calibrated. If the difference is more than 10%, perform the following steps. Open the battery cover. Remove the battery. Move the internal dip switch located on the electronic board down to the calibration position. Cal will be displayed. Press the speaker button once, the reading and factor values will flash alternately on the display. The factor is indicated by the letter F. Expose the meter to a known radiation field and change the calibration factor value. Press the speaker button to increase the factor value and the light button to decrease the factor value. The display will return to the alternate mode only when either speaker or light button is not pressed for more than 3 seconds. When the required factor is obtained, turn the internal dip switch back to the measuring position and the meter will enter the measuring mode. The calibration factor value can be between 0.6 to 1.4 and is stored in the EEPROM. Finally, verify the meter reading in the known radiation field again.
Detector alarm. If the detector is defective or disconnected, ERR message blinks on the display, and an audible alarm is activated. To mute the audible alarm, press the speaker button. Battery alarm. If battery voltage decreases below 6.2 volts, the BAT message blinks on the display, and an audible alarm is activated. To display the measured readings, and mute the audible alarm, press the speaker button. The BAT message will reappear every 5 minutes, for 2 seconds, and every 30 minutes accompanied by an audible beep to remind you of low battery condition. Overflow alarm. If the displayed count rate is over the measuring range, the OFLO message blinks on the display, and an audible alarm is activated. To mute the audible alarm, press the speaker button. Threshold alarm. If the reading exceeds threshold value, the ALR message and the reading are displayed alternately, accompanied by an audible beep. Pressing the speaker button mutes the audible alarm, but the ALR and the reading continue to be displayed alternately, until the reading decreases to 0.75 of the threshold value. In case the reading exceeds threshold value and then decreases below 0.75, the ALR message and the beep sound are automatically cancelled, even though the speaker button has not been pressed.
The use of an external power supply. The RAM Gene 1 can be connected to an external power supply through the earphone plug mounted on the side of the meter, which will not harm or charge the batteries. The batteries will automatically take over from the power supply if disconnected. Using chargeable batteries. The RAM Gene 1 can be modified to be used with chargeable batteries. The batteries are charged using an external power supply. The battery cover will be marked with a label stating rechargeable battery only. Warning: charging a non-chargeable battery will cause the battery to heat up and possibly explode. Selecting measuring units. The measuring units of the instrument are factory set and should definitely never be modified by a user. We explain how to modify the units of measurement in case someone has accidentally changed the setting. If the measuring units are modified, the touch panel must be replaced to match the new selection. Here's a list of the various options available. Note that options U10 and U20 disable the cap on, cap off option. To modify the units of measurement, press on the light and speaker button for 10 seconds. The display will show UXX. Each press on the speaker button will display the next option. To save the required option, press on the light and speaker button for 10 seconds. To exit the selection mode, switch off the instrument.